they want. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. They know they're going to get away with it.
So, of course,
at least not civilly.
Yeah,
we're going to sue them.
Right. So Eddie Dillard's
they need to be sued.
Eddie Dillard's attorney, Andrew Spark. I apologize. Andrew Spark is here, and so tell us about this. Is there a potential criminal suit against this guy? A potential civil suit? I mean, where are you planning to try to take this?
Well, right now, as far as criminally, the Orange County Sheriff Office met with us today. We don't know what's going to happen with it from here on in, but it's going to be sent to a detective. Civilly, we plan to file suit within the next day or two.
Fantastic.
We're going to sue Patriot Group International, which was the company that I'm fairly certain provided the security guards, and probably sue Newt 2012 Incorporated because the way the guards were talking, they seemed to feel that they were one and the same with the campaign, not just a disinterested guard.
All right. It's interesting. What did you say it was? Patriot Group?
Patriot Group International. Yeah, I tracked them down yesterday.
They're sure patriots. They want to destroy any dissenting opinion, assault people for holding political signs. What a patriot. Unbelievable. So what, I mean, is there... describe, I guess, if you would, sort of the injury and what you sort of expect. I mean, is this level of injury? It looks reasonably severe. I mean, do you think you can do some damage to the campaign with this? I mean, this was a pretty brutal assault.
Well, economically, campaigns are actually not particularly viable. They tend to fold up at the end of the campaign and owe people a lot of money. I don't know if they have insurance, but I suspect that Patriot Group has a lot of insurance. You know, it's a fairly sizable operation. I would think they got insurance, and I would think that if they did get insurance, that it's a lot of money because, you know, security guards and that type of thing carries with it a lot of exposure. You know, they're working for a presidential candidate, so undoubtedly they have a little heft behind them. They have operations over in Afghanistan, so it's a sizable, it's a sizable company.
Yeah. Now, see, folks, with a private security company like this is how law enforcement should be handled because this particular person is in a private company and now will have to face the consequences of his actions, unlike a law enforcement officer who works for the state. Right. So this right here will hopefully show this company that they have to stop this before it ever happens again. And I hope that the lawsuit is extremely successful in putting this out there that, look, you cannot do this. Law enforcement officers can't do it, and private security can't do it.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting point, too. I mean, if this had, God forbid, been a law enforcement officer or even, you know, like Romney today got the Secret Service, you know, some sort of, you know, bureaucrat did this instead of a private person, I think it would be much more difficult to see any type of justice. First of all,
you would have no recourse.
First of all, your client would have probably been arrested with resisting or some crap, battery on a law enforcement officer and 7 other charges. He'd be in jail and be very difficult. I mean, what's your opinion? If this was a law enforcement officer, would it be a lot harder to try and get justice?
It would be harder, yeah. I mean, there would be recourse because you can sue for instance, a state employee in Florida for an intentional tort. Let's say this was a state official that did it, but there are definitely some obstacles you have to overcome with any kind of case against a governmental entity, including a liability cap, which you know, you have to get an act of the legislature to get more money than that. And then there's the tension between if it's an intentional act, it's really not. People don't want to sue just some deputy sheriff for an intentional tort with no insurance coverage. So it's difficult to get liability.
Judging from past incidences, you can clearly see that the law enforcement will investigate themselves and find themselves perfectly within their legitimate means of operation, and
that's usually
you'll get nothing done. I mean, you can complain all day long about the cops, and nothing will happen unless you've got a camera, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll get something out of it. But they didn't kill you, thank goodness. No. And maybe if it was a law enforcement officer, that would be what you know, a family would be able to go after the officer for. But
no, I think one of the most important things about this too is, you know, besides Eddie trying to get some semblance of justice for this assault, and it's even more horrible than an assault to me because number one, you know, he encouraged others to you know, join him in assaulting this person, and also it's just a straight up political attack. It's just absolutely wrong in this country where we're supposed to have the freedom of speech and elections and the right to have political views. I think it's just absurd. But I think one of the most important things, and I'm very glad that you are going forward with a lawsuit because, this is going to continue, I think, the sort of media coverage of this. Have you guys given any statements or been contacted by media asking you, what your plans are if you're going forward?
Did an interview yesterday with 13.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what came of that. I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Did an interview this morning with Channel 9. Once again, they haven't told me if they're going to run it or not.
Right.
Also was contacted by, Freedom Watch, Napolitano
Oh, yeah.
show.
Oh, awesome.
And they're possibly going to do a piece on that.
That'd be
tomorrow.
great. I love Freedom Watch.
And certainly once suit is filed, we're going to publicize it.
Right.
Everybody that's been following the story and other media outlets as well.
Fantastic.
And, Yahoo did a follow-up on it today.
Okay, good.
And Ron Paul's campaign issued another statement.
Oh, did they? What are they saying now?
Just basically that he apologized and that he, pay for medical bills.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely, because
at a minimum, I guess is kind of what they're asking for. As far as I know, the Newt Gingrich campaign has not commented to anyone about the
I expect
incident.
they're just hoping this whole thing kind of goes away and trying to, shield themselves from it. But, if you haven't seen the photo of this guy's foot, I mean, he's wearing a cast right now, just to give you an idea. It's not just like somebody stepped on his foot. I mean, this was a deliberate assault. He could have easily broken his foot. I don't know exactly what the situation there is, but...
Well, it's broken.
It is broken.
It is fractured, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Last night, obviously when everything was going on, there was adrenaline factor and, just the whole excitement of the day yesterday. Finally, at the end of the day, the foot was swollen and in pain, and, my wife encourages me to go get it checked out because I'm not a guy who's a fan of doctors, other than Ron Paul, of course.
And Rand.
Rand's
so,
a good guy,
yes. So I went last night to a walk-in clinic, and they took an X-ray and found that there's a fracture in the bone in my foot that, don't ask me how to spell it, say it. It's a bone in my foot that's fractured.
So the plot thickens here. Your foot is actually broken. This goon from the Newt Gingrich campaign, broke somebody's foot for holding a Ron Paul sign. Are you hearing this? Are you not outraged? I can't believe nobody's called about this yet. This is outrageous. Are you kidding me? I mean, this goon, thank God he's out of Florida, this guy. I'm baffled by this whole thing. I'm just very excited that it's gotten the amount of attention that it did, and I just want to, above anything else, commend you for your bravery. I mean, I hate to sound biased here, but I kind of feel like only a Ron Paul supporter would stand their ground, continue to try holding a sign while, their foot's being broken by this big goon and they're being threatened, and there's a big mob of people around them kicking their feet and, kicking their cell phone around. I mean, how did you feel? Were you scared at all? Were you intimidated when all this was going on?
I just kept thinking, if I move, they've won.
Yeah.
And if my sign hits Newt, then they're going to move me. So, my main concentration was holding the sign above Newt and his wife's head in view of all the cameras and the media, obviously without making contact. And, that was it. Because I knew, if that sign touched a hair on his head, they were going to feel that they had the right to do even more damage to me.
Right, absolutely.
So,
They would have, too.
I just kind of, bit my tongue and waited for it all to be over.
Well, it's great. I think you're very brave for standing up there and putting up with it. And quite frankly, again, I don't want to sound biased, but I don't see a Mitt Romney supporter or anybody else supporter being so passionate to stay there through this kind of assault and this kind of threats and intimidation. I commend you. I think it's terrific. I appreciate you joining us. We're going to be right back with Adam Kokesh, of course, Eddie Dillard and his attorney Andrew Spark here in the studio. You guys are more than welcome to hang out for the rest of the show. Adam Kokesh is going to be on the other half of this, talking about veterans for Ron Paul. It is Free Radical Radio. You can give us a call, 407-774-0810.